Hey Internet! So this week I've been playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. You probably haven't heard of it. It's kind of an indie game. It's based off a movie series that nobody likes. I mean, certainly I have never been much of a Star Wars fan. But anyways, Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's an MMO. If you don't know, MMOs are like World of Warcraft. They're these massive games where you can only play online. It's persistent online worlds, and you play with a bunch of other people, and you kill rats for swords and stuff like that. Only it's set in Star Wars, so you kill womp rats for lightsabers. So is it any good? Is it a good MMO? Is it just World of Warcraft dressed up like Star Wars? Well, here's my opinion of Star Wars: The Old Republic.
BioWare, the company that made Star Wars: The Old Republic, is a company I really respect. If you watch the old reviews, you know I'm a big fan of Mass Effect and a big fan of Dragon Age, and Dragon Age 2, but whatever. I haven't really had a chance to play Knights of the Old Republic, but I love the idea of BioWare handling Star Wars. I would also consider myself an incredibly seasoned MMO player, and by that I mean I don't have a social life. I've personally had a very on-again, off-again, will they, won't they relationship with World of Warcraft since it launched, and I've had quite a lot of experience with other MMOs. You know, I've reviewed a couple of them, Champions Online and Aeon and stuff, but I've also played Warhammer and Age of Conan and EVE Online and a bunch of them. So here we are with kind of a perfect storm, if you will, of a game developer I really respect and can really handle their RPGs, for my opinion, and a genre which I'm very familiar with but would like to see something new. Unlike the atrociously terrible Star Wars Galaxy MMO that came out a couple of years ago and died recently and should be obviously forgotten, Star Wars: The Old Republic is not set during the time frame of any of the movies. It's actually set a couple of thousand years before any of the movies. This gives BioWare free license to come up with any kind of storylines they want, for the most part, and do all kinds of things, like everyone can be Jedis or Sith. The story is essentially, there was a giant war between the Sith Empire and the Republic, and now there's kind of a stalemate, and tensions are high, and they're going to go to war again eventually, but for now, there's no war. As a player, you can either choose to be on the Sith Empire or the Republic. The two factions in the game is a pretty standard thing in MMOs. It just means that you can't talk with anyone, you can't be friends with the people on the other side, and if you see each other just roaming around, you can actually kill each other. Once you've picked your side, you can choose one of 4 different classes. Each faction has different classes that are unique to its particular side, like the Republic has all the Jedi and the Empire has all the Sith. And while the classes have different names, they're kind of mirrors of each other. You know, the Republic has all the smugglers and the Empire has all the bounty hunters. The classes aren't exactly, you know, copy-paste of one another. They do slight differences, but essentially, you know, smugglers are basically the same as bounty hunters, troopers are basically the same as operatives. And while it only seems like there's 4 classes, once you hit level 10, you actually choose your sort of subclass. For an example, when my Sith Inquisitor hit level 10, I had the choice of a Sith Sorcerer who uses mostly lightning attacks and healing people, or a Sith Assassin who uses more of the dual lightsaber thingy and fighting people. And in terms of the class structure, it doesn't really break the mold. There's tanks, there's healers, and there's DPS. The tank stands there, tries to hold the giant robot monster still, while all the DPS hit it and shoot lightning at it, and the healer tries to keep everyone alive. You know, pretty standard MMO stuff. The game also has pretty basic questing system where, you know, you get quests, go kill 10 of these, go collect 5 of these, and you go out and you do it, and you level up. There's also PvP dungeons where you can get together with 3 other people, and you can go kill a bunch of dudes all at once together, and group quests so you can get together with your friends and kill people out in the open or meet new people. The core of Star Wars: The Old Republic is very just bare bones MMO stuff. It doesn't do anything all that different. It doesn't really have to, you know. It's the same setup. If you've played any of the other World of Warcraft type games, you will jump into this and instantly know exactly what's going on. Now, I think it's pretty clear that I am a fan of Star Wars. So the idea of playing World of Warcraft only Star Wars theme is slightly appealing, but I was hoping for a little more. So the question is, does this game offer more than World of Warcraft? The answer to that is, well, kind of. One of the most notable things that this game has that I haven't seen in many MMOs is the space battles. Well, I mean, apart from EVE Online, which has, you know, it's all space battles, but, you know, it's different. Because this game is obviously set in space, once you get to a certain level, you get your own spaceship, which you can, you know, basically use to travel to the different planets, so you can do quests and stuff like that. But apart from that, you also have space battles that you can participate in. Unfortunately, it's not like PvP stuff. You're not fighting other people's ships. It's all, you know, fighting NPCs and stuff like that. When you're on your personal ship, you can decide to fly to these little space battle areas where you can participate in these space battles, which are essentially, it's Star Fox, essentially, is what it is. Your ship basically flies by itself on rails, and you can kind of control where it is on the screen, but you don't have a lot of control. You can't go certain places, you can't explore the area. It's a very on-rails thing. And you always have a very clear goal, like shoot all the turrets off this battleship and destroy its shield generators, or try and take down a space station, or just clear out this asteroid field of other fighters. It's not all that in-depth, and you basically repeat a lot of the same things over and over again, but it's still a lot of fun. If you grew up playing Star Fox, you'll really enjoy it. It'll feel very familiar and fun. Apart from the space battles, one of the coolest aspects is that the game is completely voice acted. And beyond just, oh hey look, they added voice acting, it has all the RPG elements that you would expect from like Mass Effect or Dragon Age. Whenever you're having a conversation with one of these fully voiced NPCs, you get a dialogue tree like you would in Mass Effect, and you can choose different options. They're pretty standard RPG options, like be a dick to this guy, you know, be really good, be a total idiot, you know, be a badass, evil guy, whatever. As an RPG player, you might think, well, this is in every game, you know, you can be a dick, you can be good, you can be evil, whatever, that's a typical RPG thing, but this is actually something that they don't do a lot in MMOs. I really do enjoy this aspect of the game because it allows me to really get into my character and really sort of roleplay as this character in an MMO, which I don't do a lot. When playing my Sith Inquisitor, I decided, well, he's a Sith and he's going to be evil. And I get the opportunity to be really evil and not kind of like, I don't care, I'm emo. But really, I've murdered many innocent people with my Inquisitor because he's evil. It's a really nice change from other MMOs because it gives me a lot more investment in my character beyond just, hey, I've been playing him for a long time, I better keep playing. Another interesting feature is that every class gets its own storyline in the game. After the first planet you're on, you do go to the same planets as everyone else, but your storyline is slightly different. And every class also gets their own series of companions along the way. The companions basically are like pets in other MMOs, but in this they're actually fully voice-acted people, and depending on what class you are, you get different ones, and each of them has different roles. You know, one of them might heal you, one of them might tank for you if you need a tank. And they're also affected by the storyline. Like, if you're a Sith warrior, you get a Twi'lek who's actually your slave, who you can be nice to and be like, I'm sorry you're my slave, but you're my slave. Or you can be like, no, you're my slave. Shock. Overall, Star Wars The Old Republic has done a great job of putting more of the RPG back in the MMORPG genre, but the meat and potatoes of this game is still pretty standard MMO stuff.
Star Wars The Old Republic is fun. As an MMO, it has all the elements I like in an MMO. It mostly has everything that I want. There's a few things that I think World of Warcraft does that they don't have yet, but give it a couple of years and a few expansions, and I think it'll probably be on par with where WoW is now. Personally, I just don't think it's enough of a difference between World of Warcraft to pull me away for any significant amount of time. After my 30 days trial is up, I don't see myself being all gung-ho about continuing my experience in the Old Republic for 5 to 7 years. Oh my god, has it been that long? Anyways, it's a pretty good game. If you've never played an MMO, this might be the one to try. If you've played World of Warcraft and are tired of it, you want something new, maybe try this. But if you already are an active WoW player or other MMOs, I don't know if it offers anything all that different.